Hey YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. Okay, so this might be my final video about the Abundant Life Conference, which admittedly will probably be the most positive of the group, of all these guys. So, that's a good thing because goodness knows I've been a little bit negative. But what I have been is also very honest. You guys would know if I was saying anything that I didn't really fully feel. And I want to make this very well plain, make this very plain, very well known, make it crystal clear. The leaders of my church and all the local leaders, all the brethren, everybody, all the people that tried to put this on, they are in the right fully. They are extraordinary. There's nothing wrong with any of them. They did their best to do all this stuff. There were things about the conference that could have gone a little more smoothly, some of the activities perhaps. It's not their fault. I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. These videos are not anti-Mormon in nature at all. And I want anti-Mormons to get off my channel, period. Especially if they talk about this stuff. If anti-Mormons have similar sentiments or have interests in other aspects of some of my other videos, and they're otherwise pleasant, you can stay on the channel, of course. But if you have anything negative to say about my church, depends on what it is, of course. But just know that I'm looking very critically at all this stuff. I'm trying to be a little lighthearted and humorous here because I don't want to go down that route too much. Anyway, so how can I put this? I can't guarantee all this stuff will be positive, though. We had a huge turnout. Apparently, the way that this thing was organized was such that all single adults were invited to this thing with Dallin H. today. And Dallin H. is one of the 12 apostles. In case you're wondering, the number 2 in seniority. So there were some pretty girls here. I imagine they're probably in the young single adult range. I didn't know them. I met a few folks. I saw a few folks that I wanted to see in other times in this program, but whatever. My earlier comments about how a lot of these singles events are not very well attended rings very true because, I mean, I kid you not, we had hundreds and hundreds of people here in Southern Bellevue today. And even if you said that maybe half of them were younger single adults, if they're pretty, many of them are admittedly still rather airheaded. I'll put it that way. So, and if they aren't, well, if some of them aren't that are women, I would like them to step forward and say that they're not. Like, Anyway, more on that later. So, we definitely had more single adults there, 30 to 45 and whatever elders than we've had at any of the other events. Why? Why is that? Can anybody tell me why this was the best attended event? Well, it's because Dallin H. was there. Was it because they knew that others, their friends or other people that they didn't want to see again were going to be there? Maybe. Probably not, though. In my case, I had no idea who was going to be there. I hate to think, though, that the reason why so many people were here was just because Dallin H. Oaks was here. And I'm going to be, as I say these things, I'm also, you guys should know that I believe Dallin H. Oaks is the apostle of the Lord. Otherwise, I wouldn't be saying some of the things the way I'm saying them. But even when Dallin H. Oaks was talking, even during that time, there were a lot of thoughts I had that I wish I could express to everybody. So Elder Oaks didn't even express even 1% of the thoughts and desires of my heart. That's okay. He didn't have to. But the reason I'm saying this has something to do with the fact that, again, we have this hero worship in my church. Hero worshiping. And I mentioned Jenny Oaks Baker and Alex Boyer in an earlier video. In this case, and it's really hard for me to say it this way. If someone's an apostle or higher up on the food ladder, the food chain or whatever it is in my church, wow, they're a big celebrity. And we treat them like royalty. Is that so bad? Well, this is very much an across-the-board thing in my church. You guys can probably guess why. And so many other Christians, so many other people are so critical of my church, my members of the church, for being this way. I can kind of see why. I really can. Because it's Jesus Christ who makes everything possible. Right? So who are the apostles? The apostles are, we believe that they can speak for the Lord. They can speak the mind and the will of the Lord. That's why we have them. So they can basically operate the work of the Lord here on earth. And so they're pretty special, right? Yeah. But do the apostles always say everything and anything that everyone could benefit from? No. Why is that? Well, it's physically impossible to do that, for one. You have to have a micro machine guy just going through every little thing, The brethren, will often, especially during general conference, you'll get a number of different talks, and so you'll definitely get more of that via the general conference. But something like this, wow. And then, of course, there were some things that, of course, Dallin H. Oaks mentioned that talked about that. Yeah, I was listening the whole way through. Unfortunately, I didn't have my pencil, and I was in such a hurry to get in there because there was a crash on I-405 going south, by the way, and well, that was the main thing. And I was just hurrying out to get out the door. It's a little bit farther away than Redmond from where I live. So yeah, I mean, it's not Elder Oaks. There's nothing against Elder Oaks here. It's quite the opposite. It's just, what I was looking for, I knew I wouldn't really fully have the most amazing experience the way I wanted it to be. But it was good. It certainly was good. I guess I'm happy I came. It was both Sister Oaks. Sister Oaks is Dallin H. Oaks' wife, by the way. We just call women sisters and dudes brethren or elder my church. It's okay if you don't quite understand. I fully understand if you guys aren't always following all this LDS talk, but that's just, we use these terms. You can always ask me any questions about any of this stuff if you're ever confused about it. It's all good. Truly it is all good. So yeah, I mean, yeah. There were a lot of people there. I was hoping, by the way, to be able to have a question for Dallin H. Oaks. That never happened. The questions that I guess a stake president, who was kind of the one in charge other than Dallin Chokes himself, the one who was kind of the one introducing Dallin Chokes, went up on the stage, whatever. He asked some questions that I don't know who all submitted the questions. I certainly never had a chance to submit any questions, nor did I think anybody else that was involved that I know of. If I'm mistaken, I guess they maybe handpicked people. I have no idea. I just have no idea. So the question I had for Dallin Chokes remains unanswered. And for what it's worth, I'll mention the question now. Elder Oaks, President Oaks. Probably go with Elder Oaks. My name is Ben Gessel. I'm a member of the Kenmore Ward. My question is the following. What? Not necessarily programs, but what kinds of things is the church and the brethren trying to do to help people who have high-functioning autism and other various kinds of conditions from birth? What kinds of things are we trying to do to help everybody be happy and be included socially? Because as some of you guys know, this is something I have. Mild Asperger's, mild high-functioning autism, whatever. That's why I'm so smart. That's why I'm so musical, at least in some to one extent or another. That's why I can identify pitches just at the drop of a hat. That's why you'll hear me say things sometimes that sound profound, yet at other times maybe I sound like I'm losing my head. It's a very real thing. Many of us have it. Some people seem to think that it's some reason to make fun of somebody. If anybody actually thinks like that or even says something like that, you know that person hasn't really graduated from the first grade, maturity-wise. We all understand this. We all should know this. And if any of us are still smirking about any of this stuff, you guys, honestly, like, I don't know what's wrong with you. I honestly don't. Grow up a little, maybe. This is how so much of humanity is from birth. If you want to make fun of someone for being black, it's kind of the same deal. Okay. Beyond this whole train of thought. So you can tell at which point maybe my question has stopped and I started just kind of ranting. So my question would have been something like that, along those lines. Maybe stumbling a little bit. The question was never asked, because I was never given the opportunity to ask any questions, nor was anybody else in the crowd. It was never asked. If we had a question and answer session, it probably might have lasted the whole day. And then maybe that's one of the reasons why they didn't do it. And maybe they just sensed that maybe there's some questions that were going to be asked by the crowd that are going to be too personal, or they were going to be just not quite right for the setting. And I can guarantee you, no matter how people I didn't see, and no matter how many tears were not shed, that there were a lot of people that probably wanted to ask questions, or there were a lot of people that wanted certain experiences that they didn't get. Why? Some of that's on us. Some of that's just the length of the whole program. I don't know. Some of it's other stuff. I don't know. I just know that, folks, this is the way things are in my church. Some things are doctrine, some things are not perfect, some things are human error. Some things are, in my opinion, not quite right about how certain things are. Especially socially. Especially the way people are. Especially the way people treat each other. All this stuff is in the human arena and there was nothing that Joseph Smith heard from the Lord that had anything to do with all the snobbery I've been talking about. Why so many people are still single in my church? Why so many people are divorced? I mean, maybe you start getting into doctrine a little bit there in that regard. I don't know. I just know that I often don't say what's really on my mind with members of the church or with most anybody. Because so few people in this life So few people really, in all honesty, are deserving to hear what I have to say, even. So I'd hope that I'm narrowing down my YouTube community when I say some stuff, because I truly, sincerely hope that I offend people on occasion who really shouldn't be, who really kind of distance themselves from people like me to begin with. But if you're still hanging with me, you're still listening, and you're not offended, awesome. My hat's off to you. I'm not going to kick you off until you do something seriously messed up. I'll give you plenty of chances. I always try to do that. Who am I to judge? Besides, this whole platform is YouTube's. YouTube is messed up anyway. We all know this. The favorite big companies are all about the big money. So it's not really true with my platform. At some point, maybe I'll have my own platform that I myself own. I don't know. We'll see. So I might make another video. There's a good chance of that, actually. And by the way, the place I'm at, the people I stay with, my landlord and the other guy, they didn't go. I don't know if they didn't know about it, or if I don't know. I thought I'd mention that so that you guys have some kind of perspective of what my home life is like, or where I live right now. They're both LDS, of course, but one's really old, one's really out of it right now. That's how it is right now. With the place I'm at until I move. Okay. Anyway, getting back to Elder Oaks here a little bit. So he talked a lot about, being happy if you're single and what. Oh, there are a lot of questions that had to do with what he's like and what Sister Oaks is like. And, well, that's great. That's all fine and good. I kind of, why are we talking about this? I definitely like Elder Oaks. These are all good things to know. These are all nice things to know. But I think we drove here for a little bit different reason, I would think. But it's all fine and good. I don't know. I was talking to one of the guys I knew at Sammamish Valley Ward when I was a little younger. I've seen him on occasion after that, and it was so good to talk to him. He doesn't know how good it was. And this random girl came up to him, I guess, in the Everett 5th Ward, and said, "You should come out to volleyball." And he wasn't even in the ward that she was talking about. My hats off to this girl for being friendly, I suppose. But this is the kind of church I belong to, where you have friendly folks, but they tend to be younger if they're friendly, if they're unmarried. And they'll just completely ignore somebody else for whatever reason. I have to admit that I have that side to me too. Is that something that I'm proud of? No. Not at all. I guess we all have things to do, but people we want to talk to and see. But my reasons for supposedly ignoring people are very different from other folks. And I suppose everybody has their own reasons, which they never talk about. They'll certainly never talk about it on YouTube because most people aren't gutsy enough to do that. Most people would rather just watch me or watch some stupid cat video or whatever. I'm just telling you guys the honest to goodness truth. That's how people are, members of the church or not, my church or not. So anyway, this other gentleman who I know very well was nice about it. Like, okay, sure. How else would you handle something like that? Yep. When I was younger, people did the same thing to me. Did they even care, really, about me as a person? Maybe, maybe not. It was just their religious duty, right? Religious duty to be friendly. Going the extra mile. I just don't know, man. Like, by the way, I just got a message from somebody. I'll respond to that here in a bit. I just don't know. Everybody has their own deal, and if it's a good deal, then it's a good deal, and if it's not a stupid deal, it's not a stupid deal. So I was kind of bummed, but I have my question to ask. I'm sure many other people would have all kinds of other questions that were very, very, very meaningful, beyond meaningful, profoundly meaningful. If anybody asked what Elder Oaks' favorite ice cream flavor was, I seriously would have taken out my AK-47 and mowed him down there right then and there. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You can very well ask him what his favorite ice cream flavor was, and I'd be just fine with that. At least it'd be a short answer. Just kidding. So, yeah. I mean, that's how people are in my church, oftentimes. So let's go through this a little bit, because so you get the idea. This was a good meeting. This is a great meeting. There are a lot of great things that were said, like just hang in there, and it'll work out, and everything is according to the Lord's timetable. And we can say to ourselves, "Oh, I already knew that stuff. Why would I have to go hear them say it again and again and again?" Well, it's great to have heard someone say it. It's great to hear something comforting. So something we said for that, at least, to feel of their love for us. And when the brethren say they love the singles, they love everybody, whoever, and it's, and you can tell it's sincere, well, that means something. It does. And it would be so easy for someone to say, oh, that doesn't mean anything. They were just saying that because that's just, Well, on some level, that's how people are. I mean, that's how the whole interactions are with humans. If we can't pick up on what someone is saying as far as their feelings based on how they're saying it and the feeling we have when they say it, then I don't know. It's not an attribute I want to have more of. But there are a lot of really intelligent musicians and composers and things that have had a hard time with that I've known. And I know that a lot of folks that are very brainy, not just very brainy, other kinds of folks I've known, would have a tough time with those kinds of statements or anything like that. So a lot of people just don't go to church, for a lot of reasons like that. But it's one of those things where I think it's really important for us to be able to feel feelings when anybody's talking to us. And when you can't hear their actual voice, when it's something online. So this is why YouTube is such a great thing. But when someone just has text, you don't know what the devil they're talking about. Online dating sites, it's all just text, it's photos and text. And you're sometimes having to pay for this stuff. But you don't hear the other woman's voice. Or if you're a woman, you don't hear the other man's voice. You just see text. It's terrible. It's in my opinion, it's wrong. YouTube lets you have voice, lets you see a person's face. I often don't show my face, but that's just because I don't always like to be fully at the center of attention of all my videos. I have my own reasons, and that's good. I'll have some videos where I have my face on there. I have plenty of videos where you get to see my face, my awesome face. So, yeah, I was like, it's awesome, but at the same time, it's like, no, I didn't like how some of whatever was going on was. I didn't like it. But it was better than some of the other events. At least people were generally in a better mood. I don't know. It's amazing that you can go to a singles event and actually be halfway cheerful, I think. This is why a lot of times you don't go to them. I want that to change. And I told the guy I was talking to afterwards quite a bit about this. Nobody wants to go to some event that everybody's depressed. Nobody wants to be around people that are depressed. People don't mind being around somebody who's very energetic or not energetic. It's not, the reason why I still have subscribers, I'll put it that way. The reason why I still have people that are subscribed to me and people that are joining all the time is because I talk about things that are meaningful, things that are emotional. And, you see all this huge range of emotion that I have. And I'm very much sincere, and you'll be very, 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 very aware of when I'm more joking, I would think, for the most part. But yeah, basically sincere, basically my real person. And one of the, it's like for so many members of the church, it's like we might feel like when we have certain things that we're doing that are church oriented, we feel like that's so bright and glorious and awesome and amazing. And then when we go back to our houses, depending on how things are, we often feel very much alone again, or just, it's a very common feeling, just not quite the same. And I've often been told that the reason why we have these like church things, any kind of get-togethers, is just because you always have a fire that burns brighter when you have all the logs that are there. The logs are all the members of the church, and the fire is the way you feel when you're around people that are supposedly awesome, and we should all be. Well, we aren't always awesome, and maybe more to the point, we often think that some people are awesome, but they really aren't, and we just have all kinds of different conceptions about people, depending on our personalities and everything like that, and the fire doesn't always feel like the fire. And so you have people that don't go to things and don't go to church. And, you could think that your church feels like a fire is burning, but maybe. I wouldn't know. But if it does burn brightly, if you feel warmth, spiritual and social warmth at your church, that's a great thing. More on all that in a bit. I welcome those comments, by the way, because this is very meaningful to talk about. If it makes any difference, there's a guy that, again, sometimes I watch his stuff, sometimes not so much, that likes to stir his coffee a certain way in the morning, that is a little bit older than me, but still very much a young man at heart, George Bruno. And he talks about how, belonging to a church and having that connection is a very good thing. Now, George and I are very different in our personalities. He does not share a lot of the things I'm interested in, but he does like other things I'm interested in. And I have a pretty good idea of what George is like. And, it's okay. He's definitely not LDS. Doesn't matter. I mean, with time, George is always very much himself, by the way. So if there's another YouTuber, there's many other YouTubers that I am like. If there's another YouTuber that I am very similar to, it's George, in regard to how we can be so, here we are, here's our thoughts. We're not apologizing for our thoughts, right? Yep. And in this regard, I am just like George. So, okay, this is some of us all up here. Yeah, I've never liked the red tape, the formality, the snobbery in my church. I don't like it when, the brethren are treated like royalty and all the members of the other members of the church feel overlooked and stepped on. And, there's kind of that awkwardness about us doing that to each other. And at the same time, we're treating the apostles like they're Jesus. And I think that, in all honesty, the rest of Christianity should get on our cases for that in some respects. Because, but also in my church's defense, there are some very awesome things about the apostles. And so, so at least we often try to communicate that to the apostles, that we love them very much as well. So, we think they're pretty awesome dudes, even if sometimes they have some not so nice things to say to us and the rest of the world, which they definitely will in the future. And in fact, some of them will probably be stoned or killed at some point. And that, of course, has to do with that scripture, Revelations, which we don't have to get into right now, but it's there. And you guys probably know the scripture, but you maybe aren't picturing LDS apostles as being those two apostles, perhaps, because of religious differences, and that's just fine. Anyway, leave in thoughts and comments below. I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.